Hello, welcome back to our channel. Today we will explore an important lesson about politeness, masculine pride, and the consequences of violating the unspoken code between friends. Then, we will gradually discover how Carlton, a character on Beyond the Gates, has committed a shameful action by deciding to flirt with his best friend's ex-wife. This is not just a story about love. This is a story about violating fundamental values of loyalty between friends, about placing personal ambitions above honor, and about the consequences that such decisions can have. Carlton's shame, violating the bro code. Carlton has spent many years admiring Nicole from afar, but instead of treating his best friend fairly by talking to him first, he decided to pursue Ted's ex-wife without seeking consent or even informing Ted. This is a step full of shame, a clear violation of the bro code set of unspoken but profound principles among male friends. Principles respected from generation to generation. When a friend flirts with an ex-girlfriend or ex-wife of a friend without talking first, that's not just unreasonable. It's a shameful action that can break a friendship forever. Carlton cannot claim that he did not know this was wrong. He is a mature, experienced man, and he understands the unspoken rules between men. However, he chose to ignore these rules to pursue Nicole, a woman he has cherished for so long. Carlton's self-satisfaction in ignoring these boundaries is particularly disappointing because he seems not to have considered the close relationship he has with Ted or the complex emotions Ted might feel when discovering that his closest friend is pursuing his ex-wife. The aftermath of hospital drama. Carlton found himself in an uncomfortable position following the explosive confrontation that took place at the hospital scene that left everyone involved reeling from the intensity of emotions on display. Determined to set things right and salvage what he hoped could be the beginning of something meaningful with Nicole, Carlton made the decision to visit her home personally. This wasn't just about apologizing. It was about showing Nicole that he was a man of character who takes responsibility for his actions, even when those actions were provoked by circumstances beyond his complete control. The hospital incident had been nothing short of spectacular drama, the kind of confrontation that makes for unforgettable television moments. Yet, upon closer examination of what transpired, there's a compelling argument to be made that Ted wasn't entirely at fault for how events unfolded. While Ted's past behavior, particularly regarding his infidelity and the recent situation involving Leslie, certainly hasn't earned him any sympathy points with most viewers. The specific debacle at the hospital was orchestrated with surgical precision by someone who knew exactly which buttons to push and when to push them. Nicole's masterful manipulation. Nicole, a world-renowned psychiatrist with years of experience understanding human behavior and emotional triggers, demonstrated her expertise in the most calculated way possible. She knew precisely how to provoke Ted, understanding his emotional vulnerabilities and how he would react when pressed. More importantly, she anticipated exactly how Carlton would respond when he witnessed Ted being goaded protective instincts that would kick in, the masculine pride that would demand he defend the woman he was interested in pursuing. Nicole's knowledge of psychology wasn't just academic. She weaponized it to create the exact scenario she wanted, with all the players performing their roles perfectly according to her unspoken script. What makes this situation particularly intriguing is that Carlton walked directly into this trap without realizing he was being maneuvered like a chess piece. His genuine feelings for Nicole and his desire to protect her honor made him the perfect pawn in her carefully constructed drama. The confrontation escalated precisely as Nicole had calculated, with both men responding to her provocations in predictable, testosterone-fueled ways that allowed her to maintain the moral high ground while actually being the architect of the entire situation. The unexpected blame game. Carlton's shock and confusion were palpable when he realized that despite his intentions to defend Nicole, he was somehow being held responsible for the entire mess. Nicole's expression of disdain was impossible to miss as she dismissed both Ted and Carlton as cavemen, lumping them together as primitive beings unable to control their base instincts. The irony of this accusation wasn't lost on those paying attention to the subtle dynamics at play. Here was Nicole, who had expertly manipulated the situation from start to finish, now standing in judgment of the very behavior she had deliberately provoked. The audacity of Nicole's position becomes even clearer when you consider her professional background. As a psychiatrist who has dedicated her career to understanding human behavior, motivation, and emotional responses, she would be intimately familiar with concepts like provocation, emotional manipulation, and how to strategically create conflict. She didn't accidentally stumble into creating this drama. She crafted it with the skill of a master manipulator who knows exactly how to pull strings while keeping her own hands appearing clean. Carlton's horror at having embarrassed Nicole in public was genuine and touching. He truly believed he had failed her, that his inability to control his emotions in the face of Ted's behavior had reflected poorly on both of them. His attempts to apologize were met with Nicole's imperious dismissal, as she elevated her team with unmistakable disdain and announced that their planned dinner date was officially cancelled. The scene painted Nicole as the victim of masculine aggression rather than the puppet master who had orchestrated the entire performance. Carlton's journey to redemption. Despite the complicated circumstances surrounding his romantic pursuit, Carlton deserves recognition for the character and determination he displayed in his efforts to make things right. While there's legitimate criticism to be made about the speed with which Carlton moved on his friend's ex with a clear violation of the unspoken bro code that dictates a man should have an honest conversation with his friend before pursuing a romantic relationship with his ex. Carlton, subsequent actions demonstrated genuine integrity and emotional maturity. His decision to go to Nicole's house wasn't made lightly. Carlton knew he would face obstacles, and the gatekeeper Wanda proved to be a formidable barrier between him and his goal of speaking with Nicole. Wanda, protective of Nicole and likely suspicious of Carlton's intentions, attempted to turn him away, but Carlton's persistence and sincerity eventually earned him an audience with Nicole. This perseverance showed that Carlton wasn't just making a token effort to smooth things over. He was genuinely invested in making amends and exploring the potential for a relationship. The apology and acknowledgement. When Carlton finally stood before Nicole, he delivered an apology that was both heartfelt and comprehensive. He didn't make excuses or try to shift blame onto Ted's provocative behavior. Instead, Carlton took full ownership of his actions, acknowledging specifically what he had done, explaining how the situation had escalated, and most importantly, expressing that he wasn't proud of how he had acted. This level of accountability and self-awareness is rare, particularly in situations where a man could easily justify his action as defending a woman's honor or responding to another man's aggression. Carlton's willingness to be vulnerable and admit his mistakes demonstrated real integrity. He understood that being a man of character means taking responsibility even when circumstances could provide convenient excuses. This apology wasn't about manipulating Nicole into giving him another chance. It was about genuinely acknowledging his role in creating an embarrassing public scene, regardless of whether that scene had been orchestrated by Nicole herself. Nicole's unexpected reversal. Just when Carlton might have expected some acknowledgement of his sincere apology, Nicole pulled what can only be described as an reverse card, a complete flip of the situation that caught Carlton off guard. Rather than accepting his apology and moving forward with their planned relationship trajectory, Nicole announced that she wasn't in the right position to move on with anyone. She called the whole thing off, effectively ending their budding romance before it had really begun. This revelation hit Carlton hard, forcing him to process a significant amount of unexpected information in real time. As they continued talking, Nicole began to reveal the complicated, the emotional landscape she was navigating. She admitted that she still had feelings for Ted, though she was careful to clarify that she wasn't still in love with him. This distinction is crucial. Having feelings for an ex-partner is different from being in love with them. And Nicole was trying to articulate the messy reality that emotions don't simply disappear when a relationship ends. Nicole's identity crisis. What Nicole revealed next provided insight into a deeper struggle she was facing. She didn't know who she was on her own, independent of a relationship. This admission speaks to a common experience many people face after the end of a long-term relationship, where their identity has become so intertwined with being someone's partner that they lose sight of their individual self. Nicole's confusion about her own identity outside the context of her marriage to Ted was causing her to hesitate about jumping into something new with Carlton. However, there's a certain irony in Nicole's claim that she doesn't know who she is without a man. She's the same accomplished Nicole who has built a successful career as a world-renowned psychiatrist. She's the same intelligent, capable woman who just demonstrated masterful manipulation skills at the hospital. The idea that she somehow loses her identity without a romantic partner seems at odds with her professional accomplishments and demonstrated competence in other areas of life. Perhaps what Nicole really meant is that she hasn't yet figured out how to be comfortable being alone, or that she's afraid of facing herself without the distraction of of a relationship. Carlton's smooth recovery. This is where Carlton's true talents shone through. Lesser men might have been devastated by Nicole's rejection, might have walked away nursing a wounded pride. But Carlton, demonstrating why he's earned a reputation as someone with a velvet tongue and smooth demeanour, managed to turn the entire situation around. He processed everything Nicole had said, the admission about still having feelings for Ted, the confusion about her own identity, the declaration that she wasn't ready to move on, and found a way to keep hope alive without pressuring her or disrespecting her stated boundaries. With the kind of smooth confidence that makes hearts flutter, Carlton moved physically closer to Nicole as he delivered his response. "I've admired you from a distance for more years, and I'd like to admit, and I don't mind waiting a bit longer." This statement was perfect in its execution. It acknowledged Nicole's concerns without dismissing them, expressed Carlton's genuine feelings without making them her responsibility, and left the door open for future possibilities without demanding immediate commitment. Carlton transformed what could have been a definitive rejection into an expression of patient devotion. The inevitable kiss. The chemistry between Carlton and Nicole had been building throughout their conversation, and the inevitable conclusion arrived just as viewers anticipated. As Carlton moved closer, the magnetic pull between them became impossible to resist. Their kiss is not a brief, tentative kiss, but a proper, long, passionate kiss that communicated everything words couldn't. This kiss represented more than just physical attraction. It was an acknowledgement of the connection between them, a promise of possibility, and perhaps most importantly for Carlton, a sign that his smooth recovery had worked. That kiss might very well have saved Carlton's day, transforming what began as an apology mission into a moment of genuine romantic connection. Despite Nicole's stated reservations about moving forward, despite her confusion about her identity and lingering feelings for Ted, the chemistry between her and Carlton proved undeniable. Sometimes the heart wants what it wants, regardless of what the mind thinks is prudent or appropriate timing. The road ahead, what this all means, or the future relationship between Carlton and Nicole remains to be seen. Nicole's emotional complications aren't going to resolve themselves overnight, and Carlton's willingness to wait a bit longer may be tested more than he realizes. The shadow of Ted looms over any potential relationship, both because of Nicole's admitted lingering feelings and because of the friendship between Carlton and Ted that has been strained by Carlton's pursuit of his friend's ex-wife. The situation is messy, complicated, and fraught with potential for both romantic triumph and emotional disaster. But isn't that exactly what makes it such compelling television? Carlton has proven himself to be a man of character who can admit his mistakes, apologize sincerely, and navigate rejection with grace and charm. Nicole has revealed herself to be a complex woman struggling with identity issues while also demonstrating a capacity for emotional manipulation that should probably give Carlton pause. Together, they've created one of the most interesting relationship dynamics currently playing out on Beyond the Gates, and viewers will undoubtedly be tuning in to see how this romantic triangle resolves itself.